major challenge I had was believing that I was leaving my country for good. And that it took me some time to really reconcile that. During the process, because I had to go for a private lawyer, because I was working, and I was told I was not entitled to pro bono lawyer, even though I was struggling with the concept of using credit card. It's not done in our countries, particularly. It's like, oh my God, you're going to borrow money to buy a shirt? If you don't have the money to build a house, you just don't build it. So that one was a big challenge. But that one will not be challenged for some of the new people coming because we have these pro bono processes. But if we have an individual who could sponsor someone directly through a lawyer, hey, God bless you, please do it.
Yes.
It's a challenge.
Have you heard from people who are willing to help and provide these kinds of legal help or housing or food?
Yeah, from what Reverend Lois told me, yes, we've had some people. And frankly speaking, I've got accommodation for one of the guys in the house. And then I'm here, I have provided accommodation for LGBT asylum seekers. My house is crowded, that is why. But it doesn't.
What would be the ultimate goal of CLASP? Started as a support network, but do you guys have any kind of bigger goals in mind?
I'd love to tell you. Sure. I love to dream. I mean, a dream would be to have a house that could be a safe house, an asylum house. That's part of the Faith and Asylum Network. So that's a dream. For the short term, what we're doing is accepting donations through Broadway United Methodist Church. Make a note that that's a designated donation for CLASP, and that helps us with very basic support for those who are here, for food, clothing, groceries, for bus passes, for telephones, that sort of thing. But we are seeking housing, and we are seeking the dream someday of a house that's dedicated as a safe house. The thing is that folks have this temporary period where they need it. And so the idea in the safe house is that people would be there for a while, and then they would eventually achieve asylum and be able to work and be able to get their own home.
Could you also talk about the help that may have already been offered or what you're seeing so far from the community?
So remember, we're pretty young. We started with a phone call just over a month ago, and so what we're trying to do through the Faith Network is mobilize congregations, and we're looking for support. So a couple people have stepped up to say, I'm an empty nester, I've got a room at my house. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing in the short term. I would say also we're working with a lot of partners. Heartland Alliance and NIJC are the primary folks in Chicagoland who support pro bono legal advice for asylum seekers, particularly the LGBTQ community, and they've been terrific partners with us in helping us learn what's on the ground.
Can you talk about the on the ground in Nigeria and Uganda in particular with the State Department and what's happening practically to get people that need to get out, especially those who are named in newspapers as being gay?
That is like going for visas in the respective countries. You cannot go to any American embassy and tell them because you are gay you want to get out. And that has been a major problem to getting people out. Well, sadly enough, I have there is a Nigerian gay guy in detention in Atlanta presently. A university graduate in a rich, oil-rich country who couldn't find a job, but of his own set up a salon. He was prosperous in that. But When the local police found that he was gay, they started exploiting him. That was what led him to leave Nigeria. But because it's just not easy going to the embassy and saying, hey, I'm gay. Of course, if Americans, it shouldn't take an American man to know a gay man. By gesture, by words or so, you could just wrongly or rightly. So he tendered the fact that he was married. And that became a problem for him when he came here. I never knew this guy before in Nigeria, and he did not tell me he was fleeing. But his case, thank God for the internet, his case was on the internet, and I took it to LGBT funds. And we've been trying to get him out of detention, but we've not been able to. Each time I spoke with him yesterday, he was close to tears. Home country pursued him. The land of refuge refused him or restricted him. I don't know. For me, it touches my heart. It's not just easy getting out. But I want to believe that if like some other countries have come out to say, yeah, we're going to offer asylum to LGBT Asylee seekers from these social countries where we know they are persecuted. I wish United States of America would do the same. Yes. This is the land of the free, home of the free. And these people are not coming empty-handed. They are industrious.
Do you know how big the community of LGBT asylum seekers in Chicago is? Like, do you have a sense of how many people here are currently seeking asylum as LGBT individuals?
Well, I at least from what I know, I wouldn't want to give a specific number, because also those who are helping us also are trying to, I don't know, they're trying to restrict the amount of information we share. But I wouldn't say they are less than I wouldn't say they are less than 20. And those are just those who are able to make it out. We have communities of Nigerians, Ugandans, and others from different other countries in New York. It's a big hub and a friendly stage to go through when someone is really fleeing persecution.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said there are less than 20, or you wouldn't say there are less than 20?
I wouldn't say they are less than 20.
So there are more than 20, you say?
I wouldn't say they are less than 20.
The Department of Justice statistical yearbook, which is what I quoted from, has shown a crash in people making applications. It's not because there's less violence in the world over the last 8-10 years. It's because the United States government has made it so difficult for people to even apply. And that's why the numbers have been crashing, because people can't get into the country to actually apply. And so if the United States really cares about LGBT freedoms in places like Nigeria and Russia and elsewhere, it will clean up its own act, and then it will have some moral authority to talk to other governments about their problems in a much better way than they are currently. But the actual applications have been crashing because the United States government has made it so difficult for asylees to even apply.
I wonder if you're also networking with Immigration Equality, which is based in New York and in Washington, and which has both a staff of pro bono attorneys and access to pro bono attorneys all around the country. Specifically, I thought of that because of your comment about the person who's in detention. They have legal staff who specialize that and have been very successful in getting people inappropriately detained out. So that would be a good place to reach out to. Just one other comment about the asylum process, since I know a couple of people who've been through it. I think, as I've listened to people talk, one of the most difficult things about it is that it requires a person to recount in great detail the injuries and threats that they have suffered in their home countries.
Yeah.
And this cannot be an easy process for anyone. You have to really prove that you've been abused. It's a difficult thing to prove, but it's an even more difficult thing to have to recall over and over and over again.
Yeah, I believe we are in touch with, personally, I do refer my people to the immigration equality. The case at hand, I decided that LGBT funds and our allies here in Chicago handle it in the proper way they feel. But it's not as if immigration equality would not know about it or does not know about it.
For you, was the legal process particularly lengthy or difficult? I know you said that you had to pay privately for your attorney, but...
No, it wasn't. It didn't take me a year. It took about 6 months. But it didn't take me a year. But presently, I have someone who's been here already for over a year, still waiting. Some people were scheduled for interview last year in New York and Washington State, just to be cancelled or postponed. And it's like, for how long will this postponement be? They call, we talk, and I hear their voices. I only tell them, just be patient. Postponement is quite different from when you have jail term hanging over your head. Because a good number of them were people who are active in the LGBT community in their countries, either doing HIV works or doing general advocacy work. And that's where the danger is. And then someone said, how do you really prove you are gay? Well, I wish it's like the color of our skin. We would have even known all the homophobic people persecuting gay people easily say, oh yeah, but it is what it is.
I don't know if we have any more questions or comments.